heartbreaking. But I wish I would have did it and did it with 93, because then at least a 93 would have been on the ring that would have been representative of all of us. So that's like my biggest regret, although I love seeing the 73 for Grandma.
That's pretty cool. I really like that. And, I know some people don't really, it's just a number. And for some people it is, but, you hear all these different stories about numbers and these guys throwing literal money at others just so they can wear certain numbers. I always thought that was, it's pretty cool.
I ended up paying Cooper in Denver $10,000. It got cut.
Ugh.
I paid him $10,000 for 73 and got cut and didn't get my money back. I was about to sue him. I should have sued. I should sue him now. I wonder what the statutory. I'm about to go after him. I need that $10,000 back.
So,
but it's all good.
Question for you from your rookie year, you're from your rookie year. How much do you hate Steve Smith?
Oh, you know what? I actually don't. I actually don't hate Steve Smith, because the guy is a warrior. How can you hate a guy like that? It's like,
the double overtime game. But I hear
No. I trust me. I know. I know he did. I hate him in terms of that. But what happens was, keep in mind, it's my rookie year. I'm going crazy. I'm like, oh, whatever. Then next thing you know, I'm looking at my second year. I'm like, man, he's really out there killing. Then my third year, I'm like, oh man. Then my fourth year, I'm like, hold up. Then I'm done and I'm not playing ball, and I'm still looking at Steve with the with the Ravens. I'm like, you know what? I gotta let that go. I gotta let that go. This guy's a true Hall of Famer. You know what it is, man. Like I said, when people these days they avoid the truth. They avoid facts. The guy Steve is a guy that goes out and leave it on the field. And we had a couple of great ones, but I would say that Steve is probably, because it's not a lot. I mean, because Steve don't really talk to the media like that. Like he's really, now he does, and now he works for the media, but then he just always talks trash. But he never, I don't know how to explain to him. Because when I talk to some kids, obviously I told you when I came out of high school and stuff, I had a little bit of selfishness to me and so on. I was thinking my high school coach called it not for me, but he just called it in general the disease of me. So it was like when you start looking, I start feeling bad for the great receivers and the great players who talk so much trash. Because all the great players who want the ball and so on don't have Super Bowl rings.
Yeah.
You ever think about that?
Yeah, no,
it's
true.
All the great ones for the most part. And what's exceptions to Steve Smith, because he's kind of on the fence. Sometimes it's like he don't want to talk, but when he talks, you don't really want to hear what he's saying, because he's going to talk so much smack. So it's like it's a bittersweet, because if you're on the opposite end, that you're like, oh man, this guy. Here you go again, bumping his gums. But if he's a teammate or you a fan, you're like, okay, Steve, talk that. Watch, I bet you my man back it up this week. Hey, what's some fantasy points for Steve? I need Steve on my fantasy. But those be the guys. The Steve Smith is the Anquan Bolden. The guys that just go out there and play with heart. That's going to break their jaw and leave it on the field. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on. Those are the guys you want around. Those are the guys that, you know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, I definitely, I feel like we're in the same boat there. It's hard to hate a guy that, I watched him pretty much the majority of my, like the prime of my childhood. Steve Smith was an elite receiver. And it just, that catch just, it plays back in my head every now and then, but I just keep thinking,
I told you I just told you I just did my heart over again yesterday, man. You made my heart drop. You said that, it reminded me of that. I was like, oh my God, really? Like, Jesus. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think the good times are going to start rolling in. The Falcons game was brutal. I don't know if you got to see that. I don't think it's any coincidence I was bedridden and sick after that game for a week.
Yeah, trust me. Yeah, I mean, you know what it is. Even when it comes to great receivers, because I played with these guys, like it's always crazy because that quiet confidence, that arrogance, but that pride, like an Isaac Bruce, man. I sit in a sauna in a hot box and steam room and all that other stuff with Isaac Gattori, and we be talking business and talking football and all types of stuff. And I couldn't believe how much trash Isaac talked. And every week he was just quiet and just went out there and back it up. And just back it up. And next thing you know, he'll just lean up and be like, you see that? You see that? You see what I just did? And I'm like, man, say that so they can hear you. Like, tell them that you could, but he just was one of those guys that just go out there, just get it done, do his job, and go home, relax, hang with his boys, and you know what I'm saying? Just chill with us. And
yeah. And he should be in the Hall of Fame for the record. I'm not happy about that.
Come on. Oh, trust that. You already know how that goes. Think about it. After all that time, T.O. just got his or whatever, but, not just about football, but you know how it goes.
I hear you.
It is what it is.
Hey, Jimmy, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm blown away by how much you gave the podcast and everything. But before we hang it up, one last question. I asked Victor, I asked Roman, and they both said the same guy. So this question for you, like I said, you guys went 12-4. You lose on that double overtime touchdown, but that team that year, I firmly believe, and I'm sure you do as well, that could have won a Super Bowl. So,
oh yeah, definitely.
With that being said, if you could take one player from today's roster and place them on that squad, who are you taking?
You already know. You already know.
I'm gonna have to retire this question.
I'm sure everybody said 99.
Oh man, he is looking at being a legend. I mean, the key is obviously in this day and age, in this type of game, staying healthy and being consistent. And I mean, he stayed healthy for the most part. And I mean, you talk about consistent. This guy's consistently dominant. Yeah. So
consistently, yeah.
I mean, in a crazy franchise, and I don't think people realize the history of the Rams. I mean, you have pass rushers like Deacon Jones and Merlin Olsen.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't even give. I just wrote an article yesterday about Coy Bacon. No one talks about him. Dude had 26 sacks in a season before they started counting it.
Yeah.
But guys like that, Jack Youngblood and Fred Dreyer, and Robert Quinn, Leonard Little. But Aaron Donald, I mean, he doesn't get the sacks because he plays at the interior position, and all about that.
He's getting that pressure.
But he might be, when it's all said and done, he might be the greatest pass rusher in Rams history. And I know that is a lot of pressure.
No, I agree.
I think he could be one of the best ever. I mean, you see a lot of John Randall
I would say
and Reggie White.
I would say this to help you out. I understand in terms of what you're going for, but I will say that Aaron Donald is the most complete defensive player in Rams history.
I like that. Wait, you mean already?
The most complete. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, think about it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not a Jordan, Kobe, LeBron question, because obviously it's all different eras, but I make that statement because I say it like this. Aaron plays the game the way the game's supposed to be played. So if you take him and put him in any era that you think that was a dominant player, young blood, whoever, Olsen, like whoever, and you had Aaron out there, do you think he would dominate still?
Absolutely.
You know, because I know I say in terms of the everyone talk about the players getting soft or different thing, the rules change, the game change, it's definitely softer. You know, so when you go back in time, you know, they played it, you know, broken finger, Ronnie Lott, you know, or whatever, and they
broken
stayed out
leg,
there.
Jack Youngblood.
You know, Jack and Youngblood, broken leg, you know, like just said, Anquan Bolden, broken jaw, right back out there. You know what I'm saying? With the mouth wired. You know, so take any decade or so on, and if you had Aaron Donald of today, will he dominate? So I believe he would. So that's why I said the most complete. And now understand what I'm saying. Will he dominate versus the run? I believe he would. Will he dominate versus, you know, the pass? I believe he would. You know, would he dominate on special teams? I believe he would. So, like, think about it. Can you see Aaron Donald in any era dropping back and getting an interception? I believe you can. But, you know, it's just think about it. It's like, you know, the guy is a freak.
He could have played cornerback back in the day. I mean, he ran the 4.6s, man.
Yeah.
That's just not.
Definitely.
It's, you know, it's really funny. And I know, I mean, I've had you on for a while, but I just have to say this. It's really funny how, you know, it's like the draft. I mean, you know, you talked about earlier, you fell in the draft. You know, guys were picked ahead of you. I feel like a team will fall in love with a player. And, you know, that one team that falls in love with the player, they might pick them, but the majority of the time they won't. And they'll try to find excuses as to why to kind of talk them out of it. And I feel like with Aaron Donald, everything was there. The tape was there. You watch the tape, blows you away. Senior Bowl, he blows up the Senior Bowl. He took the Baylor guard, Cyril Richardson, completely out of the first round and almost made him an undrafted free agent. But, you know, he dominated the draft process. What was he? He was short. And you know, to this day, I'm just like, you know, as a Ram fan, I'm looking, I remember that draft like it was yesterday. You have 2 picks. I know people are talking about this Greg Robinson guy who wore your number 73, like he's going to be Orlando Pace. I was looking at the guy kind of locally. I mean, he's not local for me, but the guy out of Buffalo, Khalil Mack, on top of Aaron Donald. See, I wanted Aaron Donald. Whether the Rams had number 1 or not, because I loved Clowney, but I just felt like Aaron Donald was the guy that is going to end up being, you know, the most dominant player out of this draft. Now, Clowney has the name. Clowney had the hit against Michigan, but, you know, Aaron Donald was that guy that was just kind of, you know, low key dominating at Pitt, and people weren't paying attention, and then they would just use the most. In my opinion, I think it's the biggest cop out when people start using like conferences, and they would say, "Well, he plays in the ACC." Okay, your point. Like he dominates the ACC.
Football. Yeah.
You know, he plays the same game. I don't think he plays water polo, and Clowney plays, you know, football. So, you know, so I look at those two are going to be incredible for years to come. I'm really excited about Clowney. And you saw him last year. I mean, against the Rams, he just was a game breaker. But Aaron Donald is there's just not a defensive player that's anywhere near what he's capable of. I mean, he has many pressures on the quarterback as Khalil Mack and Von Miller. Actually, I think he had more. So, I mean, that is incredible because, you know, Von Miller and Khalil Mack, their job is to rush the passer off the edge. Aaron Donald has to fight through traffic. You know, he has to go right through.
And most of the time getting doubled.
You know, exactly. Sometimes tripled. And, you know, it's incredible. It's sad that it's come at the expense of J.J. Watt because J.J. Watt has kind of fallen off. I mean, not in popularity. He still gives back so much to the community, and everyone knows his name. But, I mean, this is somebody that had 20 sacks. And, I mean, they play, you know, a different position. Donald's more of an interior guy. Watt was still a defensive end in a 3-4. But, you know, it's kind of sad that, you know, Watt's kind of fallen off with the injuries, and that's why I hope, you know,
injuries,
Donald avoids that, and